Behind the Shades.
I am Kristina Herb. This is my husband, Herb. We are co-founders of Vibrant Family Education and also the co-host of Bringing Education Home, a podcast that you can find on all your platforms. And really, we are just a company that looks to help families grow, develop. We are looking to help them change the education of their children so that it is a good fit for them. And that usually means homeschool because of the way things are right now. So many parents are like, it's time to do something different, and we're here to help and support them.
And that's the in the box answer. And the more aggressive out of the box answer is Kristina was this 27-year teacher, and we saw the problems developing through the education system. And over the years, she lost her passion and she got out because of the problems in the school system. And we didn't think that they could be fixed from the teachers, from the top down. So we decided to go out and try and start something new. So we help people take their children out of school. We coach them through the process. We give them the confidence to do it. We show them that they are smart enough, that they are good enough, that they are the best teachers for their children, and that our education system is so broke right now that the best option right now really is to be homeschooling or to find an alternate school system to get out of that and to start,
helping
your kids love how to learn and become lifetime learners.
There you go.
So that they start bringing more stuff to society instead of taking from.
I know for many parents that, and especially you guys, because you guys are both helping people to do this, is that kids are so precious, kids are so innocent, kids are like the gems of the world, right? And I think even though people who don't have children, they're still protective in a way of kids. So how did the both of you decide that this is something that you wanted to do together?
Well, that is really, really interesting because I have, as a teacher, I've always had my love of learning. I've always wanted to teach. And whenever the last couple of years in the classroom weren't going like I wanted to, I couldn't reach the parents the way I wanted to. I was actually in an online school, and I was actually having more contact with the parents than when I was in the classroom. And I realized that I could actually help coach these parents and help make a difference to their child more immediately, more impactfully. So I knew I had to leave the classroom, leave the school, and become a coach and be on the front lines.
And the togetherness part of that question, that one is a lot easier. We've always been together. We met in college, and we've pretty much been inseparable. When we both got out of college and got jobs, we also got into entrepreneurship, and we built a few businesses together. Unfortunately, I had a tumble snowboarding. I hurt myself pretty bad. Unfortunately, I had suffered a traumatic brain injury that went undiagnosed because I hurt everything else, and kind of stuff crumbled. So I was in this recovery phase and lost my business and was starting to build up, and COVID hit, and she was doing this online thing. And it just became really apparent that the school system was broke and we needed a new path forward. So we took a lot of the things that we knew that we've been talking about through the years, and we started the school system. And we're doing it together because we just have always done things together. We work really well together.
Plus, I'm the education side and he's the creative entrepreneur side. So we know how to reach people better that way.
It's like a match made in heaven. You're not only your marriage, but this actual business arrangement as well. Mm-hmm. When you two decided that this is what you want to do, you know what you want to deliver to the parents and the children, and it came from a place of passion, a place of love, also a place of safety, because as you mentioned, there's some things that, Kristina, you didn't necessarily agree with that was happening in the schools, and the Herb, you're like, yeah, this is completely wrong. Let's fix this now because someone has to do it, right? And someone has to start that journey. When you look back on when you first started doing this, how far and how proud are you of your journey from when you first started till today?
I'm pretty proud of the journey. I'm first to admit that I am not where I wanted to be. I was really hoping that we would have a little bit more reach by now, that we would have more impact by now. But looking back on the impact we've had, people say even just one life or one family can make a big difference. So I'm proud of that fact that I have made a difference in at least some lives already.
And we also, again, run into one of the biggest entrepreneurial traps or problems that people have is we are really good at the education part, at the coaching part, at the building the families, but the getting the message out to the people who need to hear it, the marketing aspect of it, the business aspect of it,
Tougher.
you not only have to be good at what you're good at, you also have to learn how to be good at a whole lot of stuff that doesn't have to do with your actual profession. And so the growth in that area so that we can actually start focusing on our passions and our strengths, this is where the struggle lies, in the stuff that's not actually what we do, but we have to do to make it work.
Gone are the days you're going to stand on the corner yelling at the top of your lungs, save your children from the crazy government, right?
Right.
I remember seeing that guy in here in Toronto, Canada. There's this man. He stands in front of this mall, and he has this big sign, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, Jesus is coming, protect your children, right? Like, I think those days are gone, but you still need, I guess, that type of energy where you're like, I don't care how people view me. I don't care what people may say, the naysayers or the haters, as they call them. I know that my message is important because it's important to me. And I truly believe it's important to everyone else. Because when I look at when I was in the education system, there are so many things I didn't like. And I was trying to understand, because I realized this probably when I was 16, 17. I would go to my teachers and my teachers would tell me certain things. And then I'll ask them, okay, but why is it this way? Why can't it just be about the education? You do your best and you go from there. Why is it everything else that really doesn't have a bearing on what's in the textbook, what's the knowledge, math, English, science, whatever the case is? For the two of you, when did you start noticing the shift in the schools? And how did that make you feel when you started to see it and you're like, whoa, what's going on here?
So for me, it was about 10 years ago. So you think about my 27-year career, I was in the, into my career quite a ways, and things have been going along pretty well. And then there were certain laws that were passed in the United States and things started shifting, and all of a sudden new rules were implemented and the money shifted around in different ways, things like that. And I just really kept seeing a change, but like, wait a second, instead of me being able to teach the way I know I can and do to help my students the best, now all of a sudden I'm under these policies. I have to be on this page of this book on this day. I have to be at this class. I have to now add this part to the curriculum that I've never had to teach before. And when all of that stuff started adding up, it was a major red flag. It's like, wait a second, this is not the school, it's not the teaching profession. My dream job basically turned into a nightmare because of all the things that happened and all the changes, unfortunately, in society with families, education, administration, all of that. Yeah.
And I'm going to go very conservative talk at the moment, because there were a lot of policy changes that happened as well. And I'm going to say a lot of Democrat policies that are being implemented right now that are really negatively affecting. One of the, it's weird because they have really great sounding names, but as soon as they have a great sounding name, if you just look into it, it's like completely wrong. So like No Child Left Behind. That was a big one. As soon as No Child got left behind, that means that the lower kids had to be brought up. And so they sacrificed the smarter kids and the mid kids, and they started putting like the last couple of years, they started putting the problem kids in the mainstream classrooms. So these kids who would have violent outbreaks, instead of taking that kid out, they would like empty the classroom, and all the kids who were learning, who were doing stuff, were moved out of the classroom. So these programs, and then there's another really big one right now, is they're moving they're forcing lower income housing into middle suburban neighborhoods. So people choose to move to a neighborhood that fits their education, that fits their socioeconomic status, and they end up with schools that fit that status. But then they force lower income people into that, and those people have a different kind of mindset. They come into the school, and I'm going to be kind of rude here, but I call those people takers, because they're given everything and they don't understand necessarily the value of the stuff that they work for. So they go to the school where everybody is working and they give to that school, and then a low income takers come in and they don't give back to the school. The parents don't show up at the school. There's not the community impact, because they don't have that sense of responsibility from their working, from their contributing. And so that brings the schools down. So all of these things kind of combined are slowly taking the schools apart. And then there's the propaganda, the socioeconomic programming that the schools are talking about now. So instead of reading, writing, and arithmetic, they're talking about social justice and pronouns and what is sex. And it's like, these things don't need to be taught in schools. That needs to be something that's taught at home. So the school actual work isn't necessarily being there anymore. So all of these problems, I mean, they've just been kind of rolling uphill and coming along, and people are just so brainwashed into the propaganda after all these years that they think that that's normal now, and so they don't want to take their kids out of school, because then they're going to miss all of that programming.